First of all, I'd like to ask about the U.S.-China relationship. Because as you see, the U.S.-China is starting to open more and more dialogues. And actually, I find that the U.S. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer are, pretty harsh on China, are planning to visit Beijing maybe next month. And my question is, what's the message behind it? And what message delivered to especially Taiwan? As you know, the year 2024 presidential election of Taiwan is fast approaching. What is your speculation about the result? And how would it impact on the U.S.-China relationship and the Indo-Pacific regions? Thank you.
Yeah, U.S.-China relations will define this period of history because it is an emerging power overtaking an existing dominant power. And there's a lot of stress created by this changing relative power position. The U.S. sees China as a threat to its global dominance. I don't think China has such a view of itself because China is a very homogeneous society. The Chinese people are most comfortable when they're among Chinese people. And they find it easier to govern Chinese people than non-Chinese people. It's very deeply embedded in the culture, in the mentality of the Han people. Whenever there's trouble, shut the gates, throw out the foreigners, keep the Chinese inside. That's the instinct. It's not only during COVID. It's always been in Chinese history, in every dynasty. So this is an aspect of China which many Americans don't understand, which many Westerners don't understand. That China has its own nature because it's got a long history, and a very long recent history, and therefore a very conservative culture which always looks for precedents in the past. Initially, the US feels that, China wants to displace me, wants the renminbi to replace the US dollar, wants to build bases around the world like we have done. I don't think so. But it will take some time for the US to come to that conclusion. In the meantime, there will be a lot of tension. It will oscillate between the Cold War and Cold Peace. Hopefully there will be no hot war, but from time to time there could be proxy wars. And Taiwan should be careful not to be involved in it. And if there's a crisis, and there's not enough global demand, it will affect US presidential elections, and Trump will come back. So there's a concern in Washington that, look, things are not looking so good, we may need to work with China. Then there's, in addition, the Ukraine war, which is not making the kind of progress NATO had wanted. And so much money already been spent. The back pressure of not making progress will in turn affect domestic politics in the US and Europe. And here China may play a mollifying, I won't say peacemaking, but China can help to make things easier to resolve in the future. So I would say the economic concern, the Ukraine war, affecting US presidential elections are what is a reason why in the short term, I believe US-China relations will not get worse. They even get slightly better. As for Taiwan elections, well, we're all watching closely. It's a 4-horse race. Maybe it becomes a 3-horse race. If it's a 2-horse race, then the blue will have an advantage. If it's a 3-horse race or 4-horse race, then the green will have an advantage. But I do not know the situation better than you do. I'm just placing my bets.